be playing the Beginner's Guide. A friend recommended this to me. He hasn't played it, but I don't know. I'm playing. I just watched a quick little video on it. Don't know much about it. Okay, my audio is on. Controls. I don't know if there's a tutorial. If there is, I might skip it. Not like I skip. I'll play it.
Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this?
I don't know.
This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves.
Ooh.
I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Okay. Well, this is the first game.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
Oh no.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
I'll go right. Okay, I guess I'll go this way. Okay, it's the same way. What exactly am I doing here? I'm supposed to go this way.
Security code breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
What's going on? I can't shoot
It
anymore.
kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere.
Really?
You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin.
Oh, I got them all. Okay, that door's open now. There you go.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
You can see the bottom of the universe. Get it.
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, well, thank you. I didn't want to do it.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the Whisper Machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the Whisper Machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
What happens if I don't do it? I guess I have no choice. Oh, I
Let me
died.
pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Maybe I won't do it this time. Nothing else I can do but jump into the beam again. Oh. Yeah. I'm a spirit now. Oh, there's a labyrinth that I completed
The beam causes you
on
to
my
start
first
floating.
try.
And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Oh, okay. I guess the next game. November 2008. The past was behind
Yep.
here.
In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Oh. Well, just a little bit more. Okay, let's see. That's a little confusing. Backwards walking. Whoa!
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be
Why does
more
the future keep
focused, more
changing?
complete. Coda's
Okay,
trying to
that
give
I
it a
know.
unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
When she stops and looks, it becomes clear. Backwards. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it? Okay, I guess
It's a
back
short little
down.
thought, it says what it
It's
wants
over.
to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me
Okay.
is why it works, because
Yeah.
it gets out quick.
It gets out
Okay,
quick.
next one.
I think I might have a pack of gum in my mouth here. I mean, just a piece. Okay. Can I go that way? You're now entering. Can I go that way? No. Can I go that way? No.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear
That's
just
it.
yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Oh, it's been walking slower and slower.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Nothing in? No, I just nothing in here. Stand on X staring on bear for 3 hours. You must, okay, there's a lot to read. I don't think I want to read it. The game is nothing but giant blocks and text explaining what's happening.
That's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Oh.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Okay, what do I do? Oh, 2009. Ready, set, fish. Where is fish? I don't see no fish. I'll go to the door. Stairs.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
It's a puzzle? I'll figure it out. You just gotta walk out in the no. What? Something over there. There we go. So smart.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
I figured it out quickly. You can't best me, game. If that didn't work, I would've got stuck though.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple
No,
enough.
there's another puzzle in here.
Alright, now I'm
Feel it,
going to
the
modify
bones.
the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
I'm fine. There we go, all the walls are gone. I knew there was a puzzle in here too.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your
Yeah,
role
we
as
missed
a
all of
player.
that.
So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Okay, I guess that's the end of that one. Oh, here again. Okay. I'm now entering again.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how long I'm gonna play this for. The Giant and Lovely Descent. Uh-huh. Oh, it's a house. Am I able to guess it's a house? Or not?
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Food? Or food?
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. Well, you might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
There's gotta be something there in the middle. No. Oh. I think he wants me to go this way. Okay.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Wow, seems like you wasted a lot of time. There's nothing to talk about here. Just
it's the puzzle
narrator.
Again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
That's cool.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
I think I understand. Charge forward blindly. I don't know. Oh, look! People! What?
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Two. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Go with 3. But you don't understand. We're all trapped here. That puzzle is our only escape. We need to get through it. You simply walk through it. I don't know what they want from me. Hello? What's your problem? Oh, this door opened here. Okay. No, we actually find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? I'm just gonna go with one, I'm not even gonna read the others. Okay. Going down the stairs now.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Final level. I'm about to level up. I can feel it.
It's a lamppost.
Oh, I guess
Okay,
that's
I
the
can't tell you
interesting
quite
part.
why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination.
Oh.
We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
I could leave notes on notes you see and left by other players. Okay. It's a note. Oh. Nice room. Not. Okay, boring.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this,
How
but
do you
this
beat this
game is
game?
not connected to the internet. All of the notes
No
that you're going to
point to
see
this.
have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy trying to get his attention. I was over enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of
That one's
loneliness.
really long.
I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs
A lot of
and
notes. I
has
wanna
no
read.
way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
I refuse to believe.
But it's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked
A
Coda's
lot of
games so much.
notes. It's
Is because
boring.
it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Yeah. I feel less lonely too. There's a lot of these. Did it say, is this a note? Yeah, that's a note. Maybe you're not safe. I don't know. Just dots on a piece of paper. Or I mean the wall.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to
Space?
pause.
Where?
Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here, to step back and connect the pieces together, to grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Typewriters. Oh, it's gonna get worse. The lamppost is the end of the game. I can't see anything, I just need you to say something to make me think. Why are you having me? How can you speak. 2009, yay.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes.
Okay.
Hang with it.
Whoa, here we go. On the way. Somewhere. Something up there. I don't know. I don't care. I'll just keep walking. Is there a safe? I think there is.
See, this is it. The whole game.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that's particularly interesting
Whole game,
about it.
right there.
You just
Next
walk to
game.
the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Okay, now there's no furniture, it's just sticks on the ground. But they're still there. Oh, what was it again? It was a table. I'm just gonna go with 1. I clicked 1, but a refrigerator showed up. I mean, I pushed 1, but a table showed up, but I clicked refrigerator. Because that looks like a refrigerator. Okay, now what goes along the wall of the room? Oh, there's a few walls here. Let's put a huge picture of a horse there. Yeah, I mean, I could have guessed chairs, but a picture of a horse would have worked too. I'll go number 1. Oh, darn. I should have guessed that. Too bad it wasn't an answer. Difference. Table. Yeah. Oh, now it's craziness.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
It's a maze of the same furniture.
So, okay,
there
he
we
throws
go.
it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
3. Please walk forward. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care that you remember each step. Click on this table. There we go. I got rid of it. Go over to the photo frame and click. Turn it slightly. Where's the photo? Where's it? There. Okay, there we go. Turn the floor lamp in this room off, then turn it back on. Now go to the left side sofa and move it a little. Can I choose the right one? No. Touch the shelves. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back by your prison. Return. I win. I beat the game. It wasn't that hard. It's pretty easy, actually. I mean, oh.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I can be working? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons.
Cool.
This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Oh, I get it. Prison's not there this time. But it's the same game. It's just not there. Payphone. Oh, cool. I get to call someone. Who am I calling? Who am I calling? Who am I calling? Hello? Who is this? It's me. I'm from after you escaped the prison. You're me? No way. So you're trapped in this prison too? Of course, I'm you.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to
That's
get
where I am
some
right
advice
now.
from someone who knows.
Oh, I'm so glad to know.
But the
I
irony
can
is
get out
that even in this
eventually.
scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Sometimes I'm scared I'll get out and then things will be exactly the same as before. That's so nicer to hear. Makes me feel really happy. He's getting bored. Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? No, I think I'm the first person to call back. Yeah, one. Be sincere. It will make sense. Sincere about what? It'll come to you.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes. Oh, 2009.
So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
I don't know. Probably like this.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the 2 doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Huh? What 2 doors is he talking about? I'm gonna walk in here. Oh, another one of these cute fellas. Well, my goodness, I'm glad as all heck that you showed up. Though I might be having to clean this entire house all by myself, and right, miserable.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Clear the table. I did it in one fellow click. Much nicer. That's a table I want to see. Now would you please run to the bathroom? Bedroom. I thought I was like bathroom and make the bed. Keeps her bed in the bathroom. I went to the bathroom thinking of that now. Okay. All little details matter. Okay, right in there. Why don't you straighten the rug? Okay, perfect. And the papers and the bookshelf. Why not? Well, I don't enjoy it so much as I need it. I'm working. I feel like a kind of calm that results bit of my ribcage. My soul just can't be soothed about any other way, it seems. Which I guess is about all that matters. Oh, that and a tidy couch would be a straighten. Would you straighten the pillows on the sofa? Okay. A lot of work to be done here. This is probably next, I'm guessing. Yeah, this is next. Oh, clean the spill. There we go, I'm done. Let's see, what's next? It looks like the dishes might be next. Yes, the dishes. Guess number 1. These dishes need to be washed. Yeah, I guessed it. Boom. What's next? What's next? I'm gonna guess. What's next? It looks to be pretty clean. No. Oh, the tub? Looks fine to me, but whatever. I just read else guessing. I knew it, the books were next. Perfect. Okay, this is pretty clean, I mean...
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
I see. Why don't we be?
I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was, like, grossly happy. all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Oh, it's gotten dirty again. Anyway, so housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Oh, I gotta clean up the books again. The books, exactly the same as before. There we go, they're good now. Who did
glad he
this?
made
I
this.
had it perfect.
I'm glad he found some peace.
Dishes are next.
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is
No.
gone, it's time to
where'd she
leave.
go?
The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Huh? Oh. Oh. Okay, it's kind of creepy now a little for some reason. Lamppost, okay, it's the end.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move.
Yes.
I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
I think I'm gonna leave this video here and come back to it. And then just come back to it next time. This will be part 1 of 2 parts. I seem to be halfway done with the game. So if you like this video, please leave a comment, and more likes I guess I get the sooner the second part will come. And see you guys in the next video.